In 1971, Emperor Hirohito of Japan made a controversial visit to the Netherlands, sparking widespread indignation and protests. On October 8, Hirohito arrived at Schiphol Airport in Amsterdam, where he was met without the usual display of flags and red carpet, and with no members of the Dutch royal family present. Only the chief chamberlain and lady-in-waiting from the Dutch court were there to greet him. For his safety, Hirohito was transported in a bulletproof car, escorted by Dutch police and Japanese bodyguards, with helicopters hovering overhead as they sped at 120 km/h towards The Hague. In The Hague, flags at half-mast lined the streets, symbolizing the public's discontent with Hirohito's visit. To many Dutch people, he was seen as a war criminal who had escaped justice. A Dutch veteran held a sign that read, "In memory of my fallen fellow POWs, I must protest the arrival of this murderer." Later that afternoon, Hirohito traveled to Rotterdam to visit the Euromast tower. As he stepped out of the car, he appeared nervous, almost stumbling, likely unsettled by the hostility from the Dutch public. Rotterdam's mayor, Thomason, received Hirohito and his wife, but the tense atmosphere was palpable. Security measures were heightened after 3 bomb threats against the Euromast, intended to punish Hirohito for his wartime actions. The next day, Hirohito visited Amsterdam, where he faced even more protests. Along the route to the Artist Zoo, graffiti on the walls labeled Hirohito a war criminal. There was even an attempted attack, which was thwarted by authorities. The zoo was partially closed to ensure Hirohito's safety, and Amsterdam's mayor, Sam Calden, refused to greet him, having been a prisoner of the Japanese in Indonesia during the war. Protests continued when Hirohito visited the Rijksmuseum in Amsterdam. A woman dressed in black held a sign that read, "Hirohito, where is my father?" echoing the pain of many who lost loved ones during the war. Despite the protests, Hirohito tried to maintain a friendly expression as he viewed Rembrandt's famous painting, The Night Watch. Throughout Hirohito's visit, Dutch flags were flown at half-mast wherever he went. The following day, he visited Soestdijk Palace for lunch with Queen Juliana, which also stirred controversy. The Dutch government explained that the visit was private and that the lunch was merely a minimal courtesy between monarchs. Nevertheless, the outrage was so intense that protesters smashed the windows of the Dutch Prime Minister's residence for 2 consecutive days. At the end of the visit, a Japanese official remarked that this had been the most difficult of Hirohito's European visits. For the Dutch, Hirohito's presence reopened painful wounds. During World War II, around 200,000 Dutch citizens were imprisoned by the Japanese in Southeast Asia, many of whom died while being forced to build the Death Railway between Thailand and Burma. A Dutch journalist, born in a Japanese POW camp in Sumatra, expressed the hope that Hirohito would apologize, but he left the Netherlands without ever acknowledging the past, focusing instead on talking about the future.
Now let's watch the footage. China lends out,